Well, thank you so much for taking some time here, Miranda. You made a lot of noise on the site last week with Michael, saying nice things about you. So
I know. I wasn't expecting it. I actually myself was trying to keep it hush hush just because it's kind of a big deal, and you never know. Like you don't want to jinx the outcome. So, but yeah, and then I had a couple people actually send it to me that morning, and I'm like, well, it's gonna get out. I might as well share it. So,
well, cool. Well, Mary, do you mind if we just roll on into this? This is
oh
is that fine?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, the voice in the room right now that you're listening to or watching at the moment is, of course, the current USA Women's Champion, daughter of WWE Hall of Famer Terry Bam Bam Gordy. It's the Bad Street Beauty, Miranda Gordy. Did I get all of that right, Miranda?
Yes, yes.
Well, Miranda, I'm so glad that we, like I was telling you, when we connected, you made a big buzz last week with some comments that Michael Hayes made, and we'll get to those here in just a moment. But I want to get to know more about you. Just to be a little transparent, I worked here in the Midwest for a while as a manager with Buddy Roberts Jr.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
So a little familiarity with the generational talent of the Freebirds. What was it like for you, Miranda, growing up in a pro wrestling house with a famous father like that?
Well, as I always say, he was just my dad. Obviously wrestling was always there. And it was just part of life. And he was just my dad. Like we did normal stuff when he was home. Obviously he traveled a lot back and forth to Japan when I was a kid. So besides him, not being there to work, it was just kind of normal for me. Nothing too exciting except for having a huge, 6'5" dad walking around with you.
What was it like for you when you first realized what Dad did? Was there like a video or a match that he showed you that you remember being like, "Oh, well, this is certainly something here"?
uh, Not really, because it was just kind of always there. Like even from, just kind of born into it. Like just like, oh, cool, we're going to this wrestling show to watch Dad, or watch him on TV. Like I think one of the first times I can actually remember watching was it was like 1996. He did like a thing with the Undertaker and Mick Foley, and so I remember that stuff on TV. But as far as that, like it's just kind of always been there. So
For sure.
yeah.
So what about you? When did you decide to join the family business? What made you decide to want to be a pro wrestler then?
Well, like 2 years ago, I had a promoter reach out to me and like, hey, why don't you come out? And I would do it every once in a while. And finally, they talked me into it. I'm like, okay, cool. The Von Erich boys were there. And I'm like, I'd love to meet them. And it's in Dallas, so it's not too far. I'll go. And like, I had the greatest time. And like, people were so nice. And like, they just wanted to like be around me, and they wanted to like see more of me, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll come to the next one. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Like they gave me a spot where I got to punch somebody, and like the crowd popped really huge, and I'm like, I want to punch everybody now. So yeah, and then I started training, and it, I've been working since. I've been doing matches for a year and a half now.
Wow. And so that's cool. Ross and Marshall are great guys.
Oh yeah, so sweet.
the
Yeah.
the Von Erich family is so great, and it's awesome to hear that you, Freebird, trading with the lineage there of the Von Erichs. There's a lot of pressure, when you come into the business and you've got a famous, father mother in the business. Did it help you having Ross and Marshall around, kind of welcome you into the business? Did that take a little bit of that pressure off?
I mean, they were super nice. I've met them a couple times now. Like they were super nice and like encouraging and stuff, and they seem to like it, which is a good sign. If they like it, I'm like, well, it must be doing well for them, and it is. I'll try it, because there are a lot of pressures as a second gen. People think that things are handed to me, or like I'm gonna get this spot, or just like I was just born with some talent or something, and that's just not true. Like I'm still working hard. I'm still doing things, but I have more eyes on me, which can be good. People are looking at me, but it's also a lot of pressure, having the extra eyes on me. So it's a blessing and kind of a curse as well.
Yeah, let me read real quick. So, just to kind of paraphrase what Michael said, he said that some people backstage, I guess, said you should just be hired on the spot because of who you are, but he thought that your dad would want you to earn that spot. When you hear a statement like that, I mean, do you agree with it? Like, what's your reaction when you hear someone like Michael say that?
I kind of obviously spoiled me. No, I was be like, well, of course, give me the job. But the whole thing is, and I told Michael when I was first starting out, I'm like, I want to make sure I love this. I want to make sure before I leave my life here, and I was in Texas at the time. Before I leave Texas to go to Florida because I have a kiddo, before I leave my kiddo and, go do all this stuff, I want to make sure I love it, like make sure I'm not just in this and, oh, I totally hate this. And, taking someone else's spot that has more passion has worked twice as hard as me. I want to make sure I love it first off. And I do love it. I've basically made it a career for the last year. And, I think that at the end of the day, he wants me to feel accomplished too. And my dad would want, like, if things are just handed to you, you're not gonna set the goals and you're not gonna work. You're like, well, of course I'm gonna get this. And so now, and I feel so good, like working hard. Like I never knew that I could do this. So I feel on top of the world. Even if I don't make it to the top, I feel like a super accomplished person just from the hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a great attitude to have. What's so are you and Michael close? Like, did he give you this advice outside the ring, or like I don't know, like what's your relationship with him like?
Michael has been like a second dad to me. I call him my Uncle Michael. Of course, when my dad passed, he kind of took over the best he could. He's obviously a busy man, and we live far away and stuff. But yeah, it's, I see him on the holidays. I see him when he's in town with WWE. He actually, literally, as I was connecting you, he was calling me. So he must have got some vibes. I'm sure he's just calling me about the tryout stuff. So,
Wow, that is some
yeah.
energy in the air. Well, that's really cool to hear. So, like your story when you talk to me, Miranda, it sounds like I'm pretty familiar with Charlotte's story, and it's very similar, right? Like somebody who had accomplishments outside of wrestling, didn't really get into it at an early age, but decided to find that success. And we've all seen what she's done. Does it resonate at all a little bit with you when I kind of make comparisons between you all, or do you not like the comparisons being made?
No, I mean, I love Charlotte. Like she's someone that I kind of look up to. Like I think she's such an awesome, like badass, if I can say that. I think that she's like the best as far as the women. And so to be kind of compared, and as far as a second gen, I think she's killing it, and I would love to be on her level someday.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, and so you were there at the tryout and stuff. So from your perspective, how do you think that the WWE tryout went, Miranda?
Um, I was prepared for the drills and stuff, and hopefully they like what they saw, or if not, they give me some feedback, and I work on that, and it'll give me something to work towards. And everyone there was super nice and encouraging, so I actually had fun. Like I remember I was standing there, I was like sweating my butt off. I'm like, this is actually kind of fun though. Like, so, and everyone had a great attitude. And so I think it would be a great environment to be in all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And so what did they like, just as a kind of, you don't have to, I don't want you to give away, too much or whatever you feel comfortable with, but like, what were you hearing that they were looking for right now? What do you think WWE is looking for when they do tryouts and to bring in new talent?
I mean, I'm sure they're constantly looking for it. Just the person that obviously people that are passionate and can do well on their TV show, because that's what they do. They run a TV show. So whoever has it, they obviously hired a lot of really good people when I was there. They're like, we just hired a ton of people, and I think the news broke like a week later. A lot of talent, obviously a lot of talented people that stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, was Parker Bordeaux a part of your tryout? Is there any chance you got to see him or anything like that, or no?
He was not. He was not part of my tryout. I mean, I've seen pictures of him on the internet. I did not see him when I was there.
Okay, just wondering, because he's a big, scary man, and I don't know, I'm just kind of intrigued. So from your perspective, though, Miranda, like you look at that NXT roster, like who are some of the women that you would like to get into the ring with? What are some of the dream matches that you got out there in the world of pro wrestling?
Honestly, two people that I would love to work with from NXT right now. And I trained with both. So both have had a hand in training me. One would be Teresa Serrano. She goes by Zoe Starks.
Oh,
She's a new hire. I love her.
so
She was there from my first bump, so she helped get me started. She's super awesome, really nice. Like she's so passionate about wrestling. I would love to have a match with her because I haven't yet.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. So that needs to happen. And then another person that was really big in my training was Amber Moon.
Oh,
So yeah, so she was there and she helped like get me ready for the drills and stuff before COVID hit. Um, so over a year ago now, but she was a big part of my training. So I would love to just have a match with her just to be like, yeah, I worked with my trainers,
wait, I believe Ember came out of Booker's Reality of Wrestling. So is that where you have been training? Is Row?
No, actually it's in Texas, Denton, Texas. My main trainer's name is Knight Davis and he ran XCW out of Denton, Texas. And he'd been out of the business for a while and he came back like just for me, like out of the kindness of his heart and started training me. And after Ember had her injury, she was looking for something to do in the meantime and they kind of joined up and started a school. So it's called the Dojo and it's in Denton, Texas. And so Amber helps with that. And I mean, now she's on NXT again, but when she was down, she was doing that. And I got to take part in that.
Man, that's awesome. It was a big moment for her. She, I believe, is the only woman now to hold a NXT women's singles title and the tag titles. I think she's the first to do that.
She's awesome. She's like, she's passionate about it as well. And she loves it. She loves what she does. And I enjoyed her as a trainer.
Yeah.
So she's great.
Well, what about other places? Like, obviously you had the WWE tryout, but I mean, is that where you see yourself ultimately? I mean, would you be open to AEW or other stuff like that? Like, where's your headspace at right now?
Sure, I'm open to going with the flow. Anywhere that is. I absolutely would work for AEW, WWE. I think ultimate goals would be Japan, just because that's. I got a taste of it this time last year and I had such a good time. And, I grew up on my dad going to All Japan, All Japan Pro Wrestling. And so that's kind of what I always has piqued my interest. And I got a little taste of it last year and I think I want to go back. That would be like ultimate goals to like stay over there for a while. There's tons of companies over there or just do like, one-offs, like just go for like a couple weeks and then come back, work different places over there and just really see the world anywhere that'll take me.
Yeah, bring back the Von Erichs. That's what they did. They went around the world, did a lot of stuff, and now they're making their name here in the States. So, you say you started really up about a year and a half ago, and you obviously were in Japan. You said about a year ago, and then boom, this pandemic hits. Like, how has that affected you? I mean, it seems like you were on a real good trajectory there, picking up good momentum, and then all of a sudden, as you're breaking in, the business kind of breaks down.
Right. Yes. At first, obviously, everything was shut down, and we took precautions and didn't do anything, but we were down for probably about 2 months. And then I was like, I'm going to keep going. I'm a healthy person. I have one life and I want to go do it and I want to pursue this. And so as soon as a show opened up, I think like May was our first show, we went and did it. I'm going to do it, and since then we've just stayed busy. So I had hoped to be a little further now that I'm approaching 2 years in the business, but I still think I'm doing well for myself, despite all the hurdles I've had to jump in last year with COVID and, shows not running. And luckily, where I'm at, there's a wrestling ring constantly 24/7. And so I can train, but there's only so much you can do in training. You can't get the show feeling, and it's a different environment when you're in the ring in the moment. And so I feel like I make more leaps and bounds in the moment, like learning, through that. Obviously, training stuff, you can learn the moves, you can learn footwork and stuff like that. But in the moment, it's so much different. And that's what I feed off of.
What were your biggest takeaways when you did get to spend some time in Japan? What were the parts of that wrestling style that you really liked and you hope to do more of?
Um, the crowd interaction is a little different, like what they applaud for. Just the culture and the people, like just the way that they were with fans and at the shows and stuff. It's not completely different, but like they as fans were super passionate about it as well. So they were really welcoming. Obviously, my dad was a big deal over there, so they were all super excited to meet me and and share stories and how my dad made them feel, and that uh, all of that is really healing to me. Because my dad passed when I was young, and so getting to kind of live vicariously through people and seeing how my dad affected them in a positive way is like just reassuring. Like it feeds my soul. So being over there was just like the ultimate thing for me. Getting to go to Ribera, I got the jacket.
Well, you're the real deal then. So I don't even know why you're talking to me if you got a Ribera. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so it was just like I never thought in my life I could do something like that or accomplish anything like that. And so getting to do it early in my career and the possibility of continuing to do it is just like I'm on top of the world in my own world right now,
Yeah, because I did looking at it. So you were like what, 12 when your father passed away? Is that right?
11, yeah, close to 12.
Okay, yeah, it's when I hear you talk about that, another generational talent, Brian Pillman Jr. says very, very similar things when he gets to go out there because of similarly like his father passed when he was very young.
Oh yeah.
So many generational talents. Do you guys have like a club? Do you guys all have like a private text?
We should start one. So I know Brian Pillman Jr. is a sweetheart. I got to meet him and like I think we instantly connected, because you just know. And the same with like I'm actually now getting to work with Lacey Von Erich.
Oh,
so
she's SWE, right? With Teddy Long?
Yes, for SWE. And so her and I, even though she gave me the claw, we had a heart to heart because it's just something, that only like we understand.
Yeah.
And the same with Brian Pillman and Ariel Toombs was there, Roddy Piper's daughter. Or Till Piper. Yeah, she was there. And so it's really awesome to meet people that just understand because it's such a small group of second gens that like we just get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't mean to get I was listening. I didn't want you to think I was distracted, but you brought up SWE and I just had to show you this photo that Teddy Long sent me yesterday. It's him in like some kind of leprechaun outfit.
Yes. That's great.
That might pop you. I don't know. So talking about the healing and everything. So did you have a chance to go to your dad's Hall of Fame induction in 2016 or no?
I did. Yeah. So I was living like in the Dallas area at the time, and my brother flew out, and my sister and my mom were there, and Buddy Jr. and his mom were there, and so of course Michael and Jimmy Jam. And so it was like a nice big family meeting, and we cried and laughed and maybe drank a little bit, but we had a really good time. And we're like, finally, like it's been years, this needed to happen. Obviously the Freebirds deserve Hall of Fame. So we were glad that it finally happened. And in Dallas of all places,
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever had a chance to meet Vince? Have you ever talked with Vince personally or no?
I have. So I got to do a homework assignment, and Vince was involved. When I was in high school, I did a report. I did a report on the WWE, and I got to interview Vince and Triple H and Shawn Michaels, John Cena, Ric Flair, and then my brother was wrestling at the time, so I interviewed him too. I know. Yeah, I got to. So all those people helped me with my homework. Right.
Wait. I have to know more about this. What was the assignment that led to you getting all of these interviews?
It was just a senior project. Like we could write about anything. Like one person wrote about skydiving and they went skydiving. And I was like, I'm going to do the WWE because I can meet all these people. And my Uncle Michael set it up, and I was in like a little cafeteria, and he would bring in random people, and it would like, I think Ric Flair was the first, and then John Cena came in, and I used that as an opportunity to ask John Cena to prom uh, because I was a senior, and he went with it. He was real nice about it. I think they were in Europe then, so he couldn't go. But yeah, him, and then my brother and his tag partner, and then yeah, and then I ended it with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and it was like the coolest thing. They were really nice, and they talked about my dad, and yeah.
What is it like to interview Vince? I've never had the privilege. Was that intimidating? What was that like?
I think he liked it. I
Yeah.
think he enjoyed it. Like, he was going with it. And, you know, I'm acting like I'm the senior in high school, and I'm acting like this reporter. And he was like, you know, just real into it for me. And I'm like, I'm talking to Vince McMahon right now, you know? So
What did he say? Like, I'm interested here. Like, what is he like bragging about how successful he is? Like, what is Vince saying to a senior writing a paper about WWE?
I think I asked him about whatever the current angle was, and you know, what maybe like got him into the business, and just kind of generic questions. And like I wish I could find that tape, because like he really was, like, he was super, I know he was super into it. So
You go try to find that tape, and if you do, Miranda, I'll pair it with this interview, and we can get a lot of attention here if you can find that tape. That would be awesome, Miranda.
oh, I know.
I'm so that's I've never, I've heard a lot of generational wrestling stories. I've never heard the WWE roster, including Vince, helped me with my homework. That is a new one, Miranda. That is really
Right.
so.
I know. And at the time, like, I didn't even think about how freaking awesome it was. I was just like, oh yeah, I can do this, you know? And now looking back, I'm like, wow, a lot of people really wish they could do that.
That is the coolest story. You know what? I'm glad we got to this point and you got that out, because that is such a cool story. Um,
Thank you.
okay, so to kind of put a pin on it here for now, and I'd love to have you back down the road, Miranda. You've obviously got some time, ahead of you here, so we can do this again. But like, what do you hope to get out of this business? Like, what outside of going back to Japan? I mean, I know that's a goal of yours. Are there other goals that you have in the business?
Really, just enjoy the ride. You know, like, this isn't, I didn't get in this for a competition. I didn't really get into it to be signed anywhere, but I mean, obviously, if I can further myself and make a career out of it, I will. I'm just here to heal, obviously, and it's done that, and just enjoy myself, enjoy life. Wrestling has afforded me a lot of travel. It's afforded me great stories about my dad. It's afforded me things like, people just bring me stuff. They'll give me things, and like, I've met lifelong friends. I've done a lot of stuff that most people don't get to do, and I just hope to keep doing that. Working out, I'm like in the best health of my life, so just keep doing really awesome stuff like that, because I've never been happier, honestly. So just keep being happy. That's what I want out of it.
Well, where can people go online to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things?
I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all under Miranda Gordy. So
Okay, we'll
Pro Wrestling Tees under Miranda Gordy.
there, get a shirt. Awesome.